Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers, Kieran here, and I've got a slightly offbeat shoe review for you. It's one of those shoes that feels like it slipped under the radar. It's a plated daily trainer from Adidas that came out in June, but has only just popped up and triggered my curiosity. This is the Adidas Adistar Beyond, or BYD. It's a neutral supportive daily trainer with a dual foam setup of Lightstrike Pro and Repetitor 2 and a carbon-infused plate in the middle. And Sports Shoes have sent me a pair to test out. So I've been busy logging the test miles to find out if we missed out on a gem here. Is this the super trainer we didn't know we needed? Well, let's get into it in the Adidas Adistar Beyond review. Let's start with some quick details then. Stack first on the Adidas Adistar Beyond. Packs 40 mils in the heel, 34 mils in the forefoot for a 6 mil drop. It weighs in at 9.9 ounces or 281 grams in a UK men's 8.5 test shoe. On price, the RRP is £165 in the UK. I don't have a US price. I can't seem to find one, or availability. It doesn't seem to be on the US Adidas site. It wasn't there at the time of recording, but if I find one, I will stick it in the caption. Now, a look at the design. The Adidas Adistar Beyond joins the Adistar lineup as a more premium shoe alongside the Adistar 3. It comes with a triple component midsole with a light rocker. There's a section of EVA-based Repetitor Plus or Repetitor 2.0 midsole. That's there to provide a consistent level of energy return and the stability. Sandwiched in the middle, there is a distance drive carbon-infused plate that pokes out here. You can actually see it goes right across the width of the shoe, as well as the full length. Most places don't go full width, so that's slightly different. Finally, there's also a slab of Lightstrike Pro cushioning to bring a bit of bounce and energy to the ride. Up top, there's a nicely soft but quite thick engineered mesh upper. It's very comfortable. There's a really plush padded heel collar here, quite thick padded and traditional, non-gusseted tongue that's a little bit thinner, but it has a nice pad here to bust that lace pinch. Flip them over and you've got a continental rubber outsole with a good generous covering here for the grip and durability. So let's give you a quick word on fit then. And overall, it is quite a snug hugging fit. There's not a huge amount of room in the toe box. Everything's quite cramped here across the top of the little toe, sort of into the toe knuckle here, the big toe knuckle. Not a huge amount of room at the end. Yeah, there's not much space here. My big toe's right there. So it is quite a tight, snug fit. But when you come back up into the midfoot, yeah, again, very sort of snug across the top of the midfoot. It holds fairly nicely. I do get a bit of slipping back in the heel. Now, part of that comes down to the fact that, I don't know if you can see, there's not much extra lace here. And I am using that sort of top lace slot, but if you even went back to this one further back, there wouldn't be enough laces to tie that across the top of my quite high feet. That's a bit of a problem. It meant I was struggling to actually get the laces tight enough across here a bit to get them really snug. It's not the perfect fit. There is a bit of slipping and a bit of movement, but overall they ran really well. These were fresh out the box for 20 miles. And I haven't had any problems from that kind of snug toe box, but it's like one of those kind of snug Hoka fits or a snug New Balance if you go true to size in the New Balance, a bit like the 1080 V14, I think, for me. So I've run true to size. I'd probably recommend considering going half a size up if you're going to use these for long miles though, unless you like a really snug fit. So onto the run test then. I've covered around 30 miles in the Adistar Beyond. I did a fresh out the box 20-mile marathon training run with a good 10 miles at sub 7-minute marathon pace, along with some treadmill hill training and a progression 5-miler, which moved from my slow recovery pace up to my happy cruising pace. Now, this was one of those shoes that I didn't know anything about before I ran in it, and in all honesty, I wasn't really expecting much, but I have to say, it kind of took me completely by surprise, and it was a good kind of surprise. Fresh out the box, it feels good underfoot. My first run was that 20-mile marathon training run. My plan there for that run was to run sub 7-minute miles until I couldn't run any more sub 7-minute miles and then plod the rest. And from that run, I can tell you this shoe has good energy, great versatility. The ride is poppy, lively and fun. And when you push the pace, it gives plenty back. But it has a poise and a balance to it. There's a control to this ride that I really like. It's like a dependable mix of soft enough landings, good stability and smoothness through the transition, and a peppy toe off. It is a heavier shoe compared to the likes of sort of a Super Blast 2 or a Saucony Endorphin Speed 4, and for some runners that may well limit the upper pace potential or the race pace effort potential, but despite that extra weight I still found it happy at my marathon pace. I could only hold that pace for 11 miles, but that is basically more down to my fitness than it is for the shoe. And when I eventually dropped down to 8-minute miles, or my slower, easier pace on tired legs, the Adistar Beyond actually offered up the cushion and protection and reliability and comfort that I needed to cruise home really kind of quite happily. Still giving back a bit of energy too. Now the plate adds to stability as well, and what you get overall from the shoe I think is like an energetic but sort of subtle controlled ride. Verdict then, and I think Adidas has a little hidden gem here. It's not perfect, it missed the beat on a few details, perhaps it's a bit heavy for anything faster than marathon pace, maybe doesn't rival the likes of the Super Blast 2 and the Endorphin Speed 4, or the Boston 12 in fact for the very fastest stuff. The short laces weren't the best bet here either, and there may be a bit over padded in the heels as well, and perhaps a little narrow across the kind of toe knuckle section if you've got wide feet. That all adds up to a less than perfect fit, at least for me, with good but not perfect lockdown and hold. But that certainly wasn't a deal breaker, and the ride absolutely delivers if you can forgive that weight, sort of particularly at the top paces. I'd say right across the pace spectrum the shoe can cope. This is a snappy, versatile, well-balanced daily trainer, I think, that serves up happy, energetic, gliding kind of ride. It's definitely in the basket with the good all-rounders, and I think a good shoe for beginners who might want one shoe to cover a lot of bases. I didn't quite hit the marathon distance in this shoe, but over the 20 miles, I've got a sense that this can certainly do a job over 26.2 miles as well, for some people who maybe want to strike a balance between energy and protection. Then when you look at the price tag, £165 for a very capable daily trainer sort of looks pretty good value up against shoes. You know, some shoes that you're going to pay a lot more for, particularly in the super shoe sort of plated bracket like the Super Blast or the New Balance SC Trainer V3. Maybe less so if you're comparing it to the cheaper Boston 12, which probably has more overall range. But then also when I put this up against shoes like the Adidas Supernova Prima or the Supernova Rise, I think actually I would be tempted to choose the Adistar Beyond first above those shoes. So there you have it. That's been my first look at the Adidas Adistar BYD or Beyond. I hope you found it useful. Give us a like if you did. Maybe hit subscribe if you're not already. If you're interested in the Boston 12 or the Supernova Rise 2, I'm going to stick the reviews for those shoes up on the channel now. Otherwise, thanks very much for stopping by, and until next time, happy running, people.